Hello friends, this is Jalpesh here and welcome again to my channel Code with JV. In this video we are going to learn the CRUD operation with ASP.NET Core and Entity Framework Core. So basically recently before a few months Microsoft has released a new version of .NET Core which is called .NET 5, and here in this video we are going to see what is the .NET Core MVC app and how we can create CRUD operations with ASP.NET Core, Entity Framework Core and SQL Server. So without wasting time, let's directly jump into the demo, and for that I have opened my Visual Studio. So from here what we are going to do is we are going to create a new project there. So here we are going to search about the ASP.NET Core MVC. So here you can see there are a couple of different templates there available, but we are going to choose this one as it follows the model view controller pattern, which we are going to discuss in some time. So let's create that. So it will ask us to create the application name. So what I am going to do is, and from here I am going to select my folder, which is my favorite folder, that is under D drive, and this, okay, and then I am going to click next. Here you can see like there are multiple versions available for .NET Core, but I am going to select this particular one, .NET 5.0, because that is the latest one. But from here you can select any version there. So I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to create this particular application. So let me click on the create. So while it's creating this application, let's talk about the model view controller pattern. So basically model view controller pattern is popularly called as MVC, and it's a software design pattern used for developing web applications, and which is very popular. There are tons of MVC frameworks available in different languages like Node, PHP and other stuffs. So there are three main components there: model, view and controller. So basically model is your lowest level of pattern which is responsible for managing your data or your entities. So in this particular demo we are going to create an employee entity. So we are going to create an employee model there, and then we'll do the CRUD operation based on the employee model. And the next part is the view, where we are going to have our presentation layer, which is responsible for displaying all the user interface and data on the web application. And then controller. So controller is nothing but a special class which is responsible for the interaction between your views and your entities, and it will provide some methods called as actions, and that action will interact that action will map with the view via the routing. So we are going to check all these stuffs there. And MVC is quite popular because it isolates the application logic from the user interface layer and support the separation of concerns, which is quite popular in these days. So let's directly jump into the Visual Studio and see what we can do about it. So basically here you can see on the Solution Explorer it has created the application, and there are three folders which is having the controllers, models and views. Then there is a program.cs and startup.cs. We are going to talk about that in a bit. And then there is a www root folder which holds all our CSS, JavaScript files and libraries and other stuffs. So here by default it is utilizing the Bootstrap and jQuery validations for validating our entities. So that we are going to check in a bit. So in the program.cs, which is the starting point from for any other applications, like we have one main method. From here, it will create our host builder, and host builder will use the configuration used in the startup. So startup file is something where it is going to create some of the configurations for our applications. So here you can see like there are two methods there mostly, which is for configuration of the services and some of the configurations related to our host environment. So the first method is called configure services, which is used for creating like different kind of services. So here we can add the different kind of services, and based on that we are going to create the application there. And another method is the configure one, where we are going to use some of the stuffs there. So here you can see like it is saying that we are going to use static file, which is our site.cs, site.js and other stuffs, and then we are going to use routing and the basic authorization, and this is the endpoints configuration. So here you can see like we have created a pattern where we have controller name and then our action name and then ID. So here if you run this application, you will get a better idea. So let me run this application and then we can see. So here you can see now our application has run. So now if you see the startup file, we have home, then we have index. So home is our home controller. So here you can see in the controllers folder we have home controller, where we have different methods there, and this is our constructor where we have injected our logger. ASP.NET Core also provides the inbuilt dependency injections, which we are going to talk in future videos. So here there are special method which is called actions, and here you can see we have three actions there, and it is written in give view. So one is index and the another one is the privacy, right? And if you see in the views part, we have same name as the controller. There is a folder called home, same name file called index.cshtml and privacy.cshtml, which is corresponded to this particular view. Now in the startup file, if you see here, we have configured the default controller is home and index. So if you haven't specified anything, so it is loading the index one, and if you click on this, here you can see like it is putting the same pattern which we have configured here, right? So if I write home index, it will also going to work. Now to create our entity and database tables, we are going to use Entity Framework Core, which is a object relational mapper provided by default from Microsoft, and which is going to work as our database layer. And that with the help of that, we are going to perform all these CRUD operations with Entity Framework Core. So with this application, by default it is not added in this particular application, so we need to add it manually. So to do that, we need to create the Nuget packages. So from here, like you can see all the installed Nuget packages, but we are going to install new. So what I am going to do is I am going to search for Entity Framework Core. So here you can see there are lots of Entity Framework Nugets are available, but I am going to use the SQL Server one. Okay, so it is asking me to agree about the terms and conditions, so I'm going to add it. So here you can see like it has been added, and here you can see the tick. And then I'm going to add one more which is called Microsoft Entity Framework Core.tools, which is going to be used for creating migrations. And migrations are special thing which we are going to discuss in the further in this particular video. So here I am going to install that. Okay, now you can see we have successfully installed both of this, and if you double click on this particular here, you can see like we have also got the same package reference and the latest version of the particular stuff there. And here you can see it is also targeting .NET 5, which is we selected from at the time of creation of the project. So now let's first create our model. So what I am going to do is I am going to create a model via clicking on new item, and then I am going to create class called employee. In employee, what we are going to do is we are going to have few fields there as property. So first field is our ID one, and the second one is going to be string, and we are going to have first name, then we are going to have last name, then we are going to have employee code and employee position. Okay, here this will be our key. Basically, like it will be our primary key which uniquely identifies this stuff. So here you can see like we are going to use the annotations which will tell our entity framework that this is our primary key. There are a couple of others annotations also are there, so we are going to use so basically like require will tell that this particular field is required, and we are going to also write the this error message will be printed when we fire any validation that we are going to see in this particular one. So let me write this also, last name, and we need to put space here. Okay, then here I am going to use the max length, and we are going to have 5. So this all annotations are useful for creating such limitations. So here when we create our table, like it will tell that you cannot have more than 5 characters employee code. Okay, and then position is there, which we are going to leave it as it is. Okay, now we are going to create our DB context class. So again I am going to say class, and then we are going to tell it employee context. So here what I am going to do is I am going to have it inherited from the DB context. So basically like DB context is a inbuilt class used to create our entity framework data context. So this will be a special class where we can define our tables and other stuffs. So what I am going to do is I am going to create an empty constructor there, and then I am going to create one more constructor which expects DB context options, and here we are going to specify our employee context, and we are going to write options, and that I am going to pass into our base class also. I am going to explain all these steps in detail, just wait for it. And then we are going to define our DB set, and here we are going to say employees. Okay, so this DB set is correspond to particular table, and that table will be created with the entity framework, and that we are going to check within a few minutes. Now what we need to do is we need to create a connection string there. So here you can see I have created an employee database, and where it does not have anything. So this is a blank database there. You can create database from Entity Framework Core also, but here for the purpose of this file I am going to use this particular, and we are going to use this connection string there, and we are going to store that connection string in the app setting file, which is there for like all the configurations there. So what I am going to do is connection string, and then here I am going to say employee connection, and then I am going to put our connection string, and here I am going to put our password, which is a super secret one password. Okay, so our connection string is ready. Now we need to have this connection string here with this particular employee context, so that we are going to configure in our startup.cs file. So here in the service configuration we are going to say add db context, and then we are going to have our employee context. Before that we need to get the connection string which we defined. So what I am going to do is configure that get connection string, and then we are going to copy this and put it there. So from this code we are going to get the connection string which is defined in the app setting.json. So in future, like let's say if I deploy this application somewhere, then we don't need to create or change any code, because like this will be a plain JSON file and we can define the connection string there. Now in the startup file, what I am going to do is we are going to pass the connection string. So from here we are going to use the SQL Server, and then we are going to pass the connection string there. Okay, this is for one more thing. So here what I have done is like I have created a connection string which I got from app settings, and then what I have told Entity Framework that we are going to use SQL Server as our database, and we are going to utilize this particular connection string to convert our application. So this options will be used here, which is we are going to pass, and which will tell our employee context that we are going to use this particular connection string, and database is use SQL Server. So let's build this application. So it is building perfectly fine, so we are good with that. Now we are going to run or create our migrations there. Here in the model class you can see like we have created a few stubs there. So this is for key max length, so that according to that particular annotations it will create the table there, and the table name will be matching with this particular. To create the migration, what we need to do is we need to go to Tools, Nuget Packager, and Package Manager console there, and then create the migrations. So migrations are a way to create our database entities, and from the class or model class itself, we are going to create those things. So here we are going to worry only about the classes, and Entity Framework will handle all these stuffs. So let's run this command called add migrations, and then we are going to say initial create. So add migration will tell that like we need to create one migration there, and this is the migration name, initial create. Okay, and then I am going to run this, and you can see our build is succeeded and it has created the migration. Here you can see like it has created the initial create migration which we specified in the Nuget package console, and here we have two methods there. One is up and one is down. So if you add migration and then run the command to update the database, at that time this particular method will be called. And if you remove the migration, then it will drop the table of employees. So here it specified like what are the name for this particular table. Then here it is telling the database that it will be type of integer, and here you can see like the type is integer for database also. And this particular first name we are going to use for n-varchar max, right? And here you can see like we have specified this max length, which is we define here. So it's going to create the max length there, and there is a position where it is nullable. And here you can see like we haven't defined any validations there, so it is nullable by default. And as we define the key here, it is going to create primary key on the employee table. Now to create this table, we need to run once again one more command, which is going to be update/database. So here you can see now the update database has been done. So let's jump into the Server Explorer from where I have already created the connections, and let me refresh this. So we will get two tables there, which is called employees, and here you can see like we have ID, first name, last name, employee code, position, right? And if you go into the table definition, you can see there that it has created the configuration which we asked them to create via this particular annotation. So let's wait for them to load these steps. So here you can see it is defined as the ID. Then we have first name, last name, employee code, position, and here you can see like the employee code and n-varchar max is allowing null because we haven't specified the required for these two, and these three are not allowing null, and this is the SQL created for this. The second table is for maintaining the migration history. And if you run this particular table, you will get the idea what it will do. So here you can see like this telling the sequence in which migration is going to run. So like we have created the migrations called initial create, and this is the type stamp which is created, and it is also telling us that which product version we are going to use. So we are using Entity Framework Core 5.0.4, so that's why it's showing that stuff. Now all the stuffs related to database is ready. So now we need to create the CRUD operations via employee context, and I am going to do a magic there, because I am not going to write all this code with this particular stuff, and I am going to use the scaffolding which is provided by ASP.NET Core. So what I am going to do is I am going to create new, then I am going to create the new scaffold header, and then here I am going to check this MVC controller with views using Entity Framework, which will tell that like we need to create the controller class with Entity Framework. And once you click on add, it will ask us to select the employee, the model class, which we are going to tell like we are going to use this model class. And here we are going to select the employee context, which is our database context class. And from here, like it automatically identifies this employee's controller name, but we can change it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create add. So it is going to do all this code and other stuffs for me, and I don't need to write this particular code. So let's wait for that to complete. So it has been completed now. So here you can see like it has created our employee context, and then it is injecting this particular context there. And then we are going to list. So this is our index view. So in the employee controller, you can see there are 4 or 5 methods created, and which we are going to see one by one. But let's first run this application and let me demonstrate all the functionalities there. Now if I write here the employees, then it will load the employee one, and here you can see like it is going to provide all the list there, and once you click on the create new, it will load the form which is created by scaffolding this. And if I don't put any data, here you can see like it is firing the same validations which are there for entering the first name, which we define in the annotation of employee class. So here you can see the message there, and it is providing us the same method. Now let's create some employees there, and I am going to write some employees there, and I am going to create it. So here you can see like it has created this particular employee. Let me put one more another, and I am going to create this, and I am going to write technical architect. Okay, and from here I can edit something, like if I want to edit something, and it will update the data there, and from here I can delete also. So it will going to be ask me to delete, and we can delete those stuffs there. And now let's also see the database there. So let me stop this and go into the Server Explorer, and if you now see the show table data, so here you can see the data which we inserted there. Right, now let's check the employee connect controller, and we are going to check all this line one by one. So basically what it has done is like it has created the employee context class, and that context is being used everywhere, and it is injecting the employee context class via inbuilt dependency injections, and it is going to create a particular context class which via this particular configurations where we define that we are going to use employee context and we are going to use SQL Server there. Now in the index method, you can see we are returning all the list of employee, and that employee list we are going to here. So here you can see like there is a index.cshtml which is same which is having same name as the index, and now let's open that. So here you can see we are having this employees IEnumerable which is being written from here. So like list itself is IEnumerable, and then we are having display name for first name, and then it is we are having the model classes for loop, and we are listing dot stuff. And there at the end you can see like there are 3 buttons which are there for edit, details, and delete. So these are the particular ASP.NET tag helpers which will tell that like we need to create this particular action, and then that particular action will be utilized for this. So once you click on this edit, what it will do is like it will call this edit action. So here you can see we have edit actions, right? And here we are passing the route ID. This is also a tag helper. We are going to learn about the tag helper in the forthcoming video, but like in this video you can understand that like it will be telling your models or your controller that we are going to pass or we need the information of this particular employee ID. So here you can see like we are having one parameter there, and then it is telling that if the ID is not passed, then it is going to return the not found, which tells that employee is not found. And if ID is not null, then we are going to use our entity framework class which is a context class, and then we are going to find employee with this particular find method. Then again it will check the employee class, and if the employee is found, then it is going to return that and display it in the edit controller. So here you can see like this is the particular URL there Now let me run this app and I'll demonstrate via user interface as well as in the code, so you will get that better idea. Okay, so now let me put employees there again. Okay, now if I click on this particular edit, so what it is going to do is it is going to come here and tell that which ID we need. Let me create another employee so you will get an idea. So we are going to create same employee there. Okay, so now if I click on edit there, so here you can see on the URL, you can see like I am asking them to get the information of employee ID of 1. Now if I click on this, you can see like it is asking us to create the 3. It has created 3 because we have made sure that like it is the ID's health is auto incremented, and that's why number 3. So based on this particular ID, it is fetching those stuffs there, right? And here you can see that there are 2 actions result. One is from edit, and second is also there for edit. So this edit is for like fetching data, but there is a difference there. So here you can see like it is the get one, and this is the particular one is the HTTP post one. Alright, so what it will get is like it will get whole employee object, and which is going to be getted from here. So here in the edit.cshtml you can see we have form action edit, so that will call this particular post method because like we have a form there, and here we have validations and lots of other stuffs, and there is a submit button there, right? So this is for the edit part. Same way like we have create there. So in create we are not going to have any employee ID because we are not yet created the employee there, so it is going to return the view itself. And once you click on the this create button, like it will create this HTTP, it will use this HTTP post action, and here it will check like if the model state is valid, then it's going to run this context.add method, and then it is going to save that stuff in database, and again it is going to create, like it is going to return the particular action. So redirect to actions means like once the operation is completed, it is going to redirect to this particular list. And here one more thing I wanted to display is in the create. Let me go to solution explorer, and here you can see this is for this particular validations. So what it will do is like it will check for this particular validations which we have put it there, and it will fire up that particular validations via this validation script partial, which is created here, right? And that will like utilize this particular jQuery validations and create a validations message there. So that's it from this video. I hope you got some knowledge about it. Sorry, like this is a long video, but like it was necessary to describe all these stuffs. And if you like this video, then please do subscribe to my channel. That way like I get the motivation to create such videos. And thank you again for watching this video, and hope to see you in the next video.